Good evening and welcome back to another evening on What's on Your Mind. We're here tonight, and as weekly we come to you into your home, wherever you are watching us tonight. We want to thank you. Tonight it's just a different twist to the usual show that we bring to you, because many people are afraid of the topic that we are bringing tonight. But tonight we are here to break the cycle of fear. On my left, no other than the man himself.
That's right. I am your friend, the man you all love and desire, Malachi, alongside.
Of course, DJ Cool Clyde, the people connector.
And we are the power in the movement known as What's on Your Mind. So First Lady, who's our guest tonight?
Well, Malachi, tonight our guest is someone who is going to help us to understand the cycle that we're about to break tonight, right here on What's on Your Mind. And I'm going to just, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to allow you to be the one to introduce the guest tonight, because you know what? I watch you all night just embracing the book. Okay. So I'm going to pass the torch to you, and you are going to embrace our guest tonight, right here on What's on Your Mind.
Well, okay, First Lady, thank you very much. And we want to welcome to What's on Your Mind, author and funeral director at McCall's Funeral Home here in the Bronx, Mrs. Patricia Myers. She's the author of a book titled Embracing the Teardrops, dealing with the issue of affordable funerals, affordable everything regarding life and death, and how to handle things and cope. And Ms. Myers, we want to welcome you formally to the show.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to get the ball rolling and everything else. Did you cool, Clyde? Rock us out.
Well, this is an interesting show tonight. This is actually the first time I've ever done a show like this, and I think that it's going to be very enlightening for our viewers and also for me as well. How long have you been in this business of being a funeral director?
I've been doing funeral directing for 25 years, over 25 years. And I find it to be quite rewarding. I get pleasure of helping people during the time of grief, that at the end stage of death, they're really celebrating life as a celebration. And that's what I want people to better understand. You know, it's a life once lived, but at the end stage of it, we want to celebrate. These are years that you have spent here on earth. Good times, bad times, or indifferent. So we should celebrate that moment.
Interesting. Now, I notice I come from a certain time where when we lose a loved one, most of us cry. We don't rejoice with happiness. So you're saying that this is a time that we should be rejoicing and we should be happy. How do you connect that understanding when somebody's going through a time of their life where they lost somebody who they seriously love?
Well, it's like this. We live. And in life, we're supposed to enjoy each moment. But most of the time, people, they don't. They don't embrace now. And when death comes, it's a shock to everyone, because we're not reflecting on the life that was once lived. We're just reflecting on the moment that we've lost this person, and that's the end of it. But what keep us going on is the memory. I call it the precious memories that we have that keep us moving forward after the loss of a loved one.
Malachi, I know there was a few questions that you wanted to ask.
As a matter of fact, there are. And Miss Myers, Embracing the Teardrops, the book, the concept, what does it mean? And for those who may want to go pick it up, what can they expect in the book?
Well, I've written this book, Malachi, because through my years of working with families over 25 years, I've noticed that there's a lot of things that they don't know what to do when they come in to make funeral arrangements. For instance, their paperwork. This book is basically about getting your house in order, so to speak. It's not so much about the death itself, but there are aspects in which an individual needs to take care of that they just kind of let go by the wayside because they don't think that it's important, but it's very much important. For example, you may have started a job at the age of 20 and have named someone as your beneficiary. And you say, well, you know, I'll put my mom down as the beneficiary and I'm not going to go back to do anything else with that. 20 years later, that person may have died or there may have been a divorce. And what happens, you never went back to take care of the paperwork. All right? So what I want people to understand that you have to do like a checkup. I call it a yearly checkup on your paperwork. It's very important. Because when you don't do that, you're leaving more burden on your loved ones when death occurs.
And First Lady?
I'm just here, just getting so overwhelmed.
All right.
And, you know, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you, and I'm so happy to know that you're asking these questions. Because one of the things that I think most of our people are afraid of is to hear the word die. You know, death and dying. And as we discussed, it was a week now that Miss Myers had to, you know, bury a 7-year-old. And I think it was one of the saddest day for a family, and not just the family, but the viewers, the people who came out to watch a 7-year-old. And the question I would ask right now, do you believe that this family thought for that moment that they will be burying their loved one at the age of 7?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I just said, if I sit here sometimes taking, and I will say use the term taking it for granted, life, the ability to breathe, to be able to have a strong foundation of health, I'm sure no one expects from the natural order of things that a 7-year-old child will be buried or, you know, be required. I mean, it's just that simple because she just started to live.
Right.
No one expects that. So I guess now, let's say when someone does pass, what can they expect if they come to McCall's funeral home?
Well, the first thing that people need to understand that when we complete a death certificate, there is some vital information that we need from the family. Simple information such as the decedent's social security number, their mother and father's name, but the mother's maiden name especially. And I'm so shocked to know that when I ask that question, most of the time, people will tell me, well, you know, I wasn't born when grandma died. I don't have that information. But we should all have that information. That's just a family tree that I've suggested each family should start creating within their own family. This way you will have the facts about your loved ones, and whenever these questions are asked, we can have that at hand to complete the arrangement contract.
And one of the things that a lot of people do not recognize is that some people wait until they're on the sick bed.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they think about, let's
This
get
is
an
scary,
insurance.
though.
So
I mean, this is very...
It is. And there is not a time when we have this topic, whether it's on radio or television, that people embraces this too easy. Because a lot of people do not want to hear the word dying. A lot of people are not prepared for it and don't even want to think about it. So I think one of the main concern I have is we have to get ourselves prepared, and somebody have to wake us up from that sleep. That is, it's a time. Like Malachi said earlier, it's a time to live and there is a time to die. So are we prepared for dying, or we pray just for living? Because we leave our family behind with a whole lot of issues when we die unprepared. We had someone who was killed the other day, the young man, and the first thing they said, they have to collect money to bury this person. And my question is, why? Is it because we are afraid to take out a life insurance because we figure when we do that we may die? You know, this is the question I'm asking.
You know what I think it is that death, you know, in life we live, and with death, that's the end stage of life. So we always take that as the last thing to think about. But it's very important that we should talk about these things and prepare for it. But in our minds, psychologically, we're always thinking, well, that's down the road a bit. You know, that's not going to happen now. You know, I'm still young. So people don't think about that. But I have, you know, I mean, I have dealt with death from a newborn. I've seen death snatch the life out of a newborn child, young, old, 100 years old, you name it. It comes in all different ages. So we have to start thinking of death like we do everything else. We think about weddings, we think about college. This is a part of life that we have to start.
How did you get adjusted? Because I'm very feared myself at times. I mean, I'm a little bit more accustomed to going to funeral homes because I'm a man of a certain age now. So, you know, I visit them a little bit more frequent than I did when I was young. But when did you first come accustomed into adjusting into the funeral business?
You know what, you won't believe this. When I got into the funeral business, I had no idea that I was going to be dealing with families. I went in there because I came from a background of fashion designing. So I went into the industry to design burial garments. But after I started dealing with a lot of families, I said, you know what? I see a need here where I can help people. So that's when I went on to school, got my license, and do what I'm doing today. Yes, I want to just tell everyone out there, talk to your families, speak to your loved one. Don't have the hidden treasure locked up that no one can get into it to find out what it is about your life that they need to know. So be open. Talk about it around Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas time. When you have family reunions, start getting some facts about your loved one. Get some history going so that the ones that are left behind would have a little better understanding on what the family is all about.
Okay, and DJ Cool Clyde?
Well, I want to thank this whole panel here tonight. Avril, yourself, the scripturologist, as I always call you, Malachi.
I have to have
because
scriptures
he
here.
understands the scriptures so well. I learn, I pick up his energy. And to have this great guest on to enlighten us about, you know, your practice in the funeral business. And I think this is so important that we convey this message to our viewers, because oftentimes we take a lot of things for granted, you know. And I remember my parents would talk about this when I was much younger, but now I can say that I'm my parent now.
Right.
So now I have to carry this on. So I think this is so important, you know, that we can be.
And how about you, First Lady?
Oh, well, I think I feel a little relief. You know, sometimes after we talk about things, we feel the relief just come on off of us. But I'm sorry that Fatih Muhammad is not here tonight so we can hear. But we're going to hear from him, because we're going to bring him right back here to tell us how did he feel after, you know, wherever he's at tonight watching the show. So, Malachi, I'm going to let you take us out, and I want to thank everyone who stayed up with us tonight and be a part of What's on Your Mind.
Thank you very much.